We begin with our top story, a scary end to 2023 at the southern border. More than 286,000 migrant encounters this month, shattering the previous record high from just a few months ago. Add on at least 83,500 known gotaways since October 1st. Texas is about to enforce a new law giving its police the power to arrest migrants who illegally cross into our country. Those illegals will have their choice to either return to Mexico or serve up to 6 months in jail and possibly longer for repeat offenders. The Justice Department is now telling Texas, don't enforce your law or we'll see you in court. Texas's top prosecutor, Attorney General Ken Paxton, he joins us now. Mr. Attorney General, thanks so much for joining us on Sunday Morning Futures. The Department of Justice, they don't like what Texas is doing. They say they don't need any help. They don't want your help. And if you try to offer it to them and do it, they're going to sue you. What's your response?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to see what's happened over the last 3 years of the Biden administration. Those numbers, as you've seen, get worse, not better. It's not like they're solving the problem. They're actually helping aid and abet the cartels. And then Texas says, we've had enough. We're going to do something about it. And then they threaten us from enforcing our own laws. It seems pretty crazy, and it's hard to believe that we have a government that is working against its own citizens and helping the cartels move as many people across the border as possible.
You know, the amount of drugs, the human trafficking, the toll that it's taking, the housing stress that is put on there. You know, if you were to listen to the mayors of Chicago, New York, and other cities, they blame Texas for shipping all of these migrants up into their states and having it become their problem. They tend to forget that, you know, the federal government was shipping them there and putting them on airplanes to get them there. But what's your response to that?
Well, look, all of these cities during the Trump administration created sanctuary cities and discouraged the Trump administration from blocking the border and keeping these illegals from coming across. Now that the Biden administration is allowing them, and they're getting a few hundred or a few thousand versus the literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions, that the border states are getting, they're complaining. And it's a little ironic that they're blaming Texas when all we're dealing with is a much more significant problem than they are.
Explain to us the gravity of the problem and the challenge that you're having to deal with there in Texas. I mean, it's hard to fathom how big a problem that might be.
You know what? It's costing us billions of dollars, but that's not the most significant thing. The most significant thing is the crime, the increased human trafficking, drug trafficking. We have literally thousands of kids dying from fentanyl overdoses that don't have to die because we have the cartels having an easy line into Texas and an easy line to get into the country. And so it is having a significant impact, and it is going to spread beyond Texas, beyond the border states. It is an American problem, and I think it's clearly caused by the Biden administration. You can see that under Trump, these problems were diminishing, and now under the Biden administration, who has basically struck down all the policies that worked, we have significant problems with all of these things, and they're getting worse every day, which is hard to believe. You'd think after 3 years, he would have figured out a way to make it better, and instead, it's getting worse.
Well, you know, there's an immigration backlog in the courts there of some 3 million people. Some of these people coming across the border are getting court dates that are 10 years in advance. At least that's what some of the reports are saying. So I don't know how they propose to do this, but, you know, they sent Secretary Mayorkas and Secretary Blinken down to meet with the Mexican president. But that seemed to be a meeting to just have a meeting, and now they're talking about actual amnesty. What's your take on what's going on there?
Yeah, look, this is a joke. There's so many people coming across the border. There's so many people in the legal system. There's no way they'll keep up with it. But everybody knows how it actually works. They come in, they claim asylum. Under Trump, they would have had to stay outside of the country. Under Biden, they're allowed in. They disappear. Most of them don't show up for their hearings. And there's almost no expectation that they will, given the numbers and given the backlog. It's not realistic to think that many of these people, or most of these people, are ever going to actually have their hearing. They're here to stay, and the Biden administration knows that. They built the system to make it happen. And this idea that somehow these meetings with Mexico, where Mexico's now requesting that as a fair trade for them stopping the illegal immigration through their country into ours, that we're going to somehow fund dictators in South America and Central America. I mean, what could go wrong with that? It just seems like a really bad idea, and we've lost our leverage given the fact that the Biden administration doesn't enforce our own federal immigration laws.
Well, and now we're getting reports that there's some 15,000 people in a caravan moving up and north. And look, these are like daily numbers now coming out of Mexico. Not all Mexicans, people from all across the world. We have no idea who these people are and what they're trying to do. So Texas, I feel for you because you're trying to do something, and yet the Department of Justice wants to sue you over it rather than ask for your help.
Well, not only that, but they're cutting down our fences, they're cutting down our wire. We sued them over that. I mean, they won't even let us put up fences. They damage our property, they come onto our property. And then, of course, this threat of a lawsuit because we merely want to protect our own citizens from the crime and the cost of illegal immigration when it's really their job to do it. And instead, we've got the Biden administration, as I said, aiding and abetting the cartels, encouraging the cartels to make billions of dollars and to bring as many people here as fast as possible and as soon as possible. That's what the Biden administration is doing. They're not just not doing their job, they're actually encouraging the opposite.
Well, it's interesting to me when they went down and met with the Mexican president. It made me wonder, are you meeting with the right people? Because it strikes me that the drug cartels, the mafia, if you will, is actually more in control of the northern part of the Mexican border than the Mexican government. And they could put troops up there. They could do things. But I just really wonder who's actually in control there in northern Mexico.
Well, I think you're right. I mean, there's no doubt that the Mexican government could do more to help us. And they did under the Trump administration because President Trump insisted on it. But there is no doubt that the cartels have been incentivized. They're making billions of dollars. They make $8,000 to $12,000 a person that they bring. So they're incentivized to bring as many people as possible. And remember, it used to be the way Border Patrol worked. They were there to stop people from coming across the border. And now the cartel doesn't try to hide people. They don't try to sneak people across. They take them directly to Border Patrol. It's like a handoff. So it's a partnership. It's not the way it was supposed to be, but that's where the Biden administration has taken us. They've taken us to a partnership with the cartels, so the cartels have the opportunity not only to make as much money with importation of humans, but also the border now is clear for their trafficking of drugs and other things that they make money off of. And so they're building this network, not just in Mexico, but across the country.
Unbelievable. I appreciate what Texas is trying to do. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton, Happy New Year. Thank you for joining us.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.